In the dense jungles of the Amazon, where tree canopies block out the sky and the sounds of nature merge into a constant chorus, a drama unfolded that forever changed the life of a young researcher named Alina. She was a Brazilian student studying biology, and her passion was long hikes into the wild corners of the tropical forest. Her backpack was always full of survival tools, and her heart was full of curiosity and love for nature. One day, after several days of clear weather, a powerful tropical downpour swept across the Amazon. Rain is not uncommon here, but this one was particularly fierce. The stream that usually murmured quietly among the rocks turned into a raging torrent, sweeping away everything in its path. In the chaos, a small leopard cub, not yet strong enough to withstand the elements, was separated from its mother. Its spotted fur flashed among the white foam, and its weak cries were drowned out by the roar of the water. The stream carried it far from its home, leaving it helpless and alone. When the storm finally subsided, the exhausted cub crawled onto the muddy riverbank. Its body was trembling, its fur was soaked through, and blood oozed from deep scratches on its side. He lay there, breathing heavily, his eyes filled with fear and despair, as if realizing that he was alone in a vast and dangerous world. At that moment, Alina was making her way through the thicket, following the paths she had discovered the day before. Her boots squelched in the wet ground, and the smell of damp leaves hung in the air. She stopped when she noticed unusual movement by the river. Looking closer, she saw a small leopard whose spotted fur almost blended in with the dark silt. Its faint growl sounded more like a plea for help than a threat. Alina froze, her heart tightening with pity. She slowly lowered her backpack and stepped closer, trying to move smoothly so as not to scare the baby. The cub raised his head, his green eyes meeting hers. There was so much vulnerability in them that Alina felt tears welling up in her eye. She noticed bleeding wounds on his paws and back, traces of his struggle with the raging stream and sharp rocks. Without wasting any time, she took a bottle of water and a clean cloth out of her backpack. Gently, whispering soothing words, she washed the wounds, removing the dirt and blood. The leopard shuddered at her touch, but did not try to run away, as if sensing that this stranger was his only chance of salvation. Alina took antiseptic from the first aid kit and carefully treated the deep scratches. The cub whimpered quietly, but did not resist. She applied gauze bandages, trying not to cause unnecessary pain. When she was done, she took out a light thermal blanket and covered the baby, protecting him from the cool wind coming off the river. His shivering gradually subsided, and his gaze became less wary. The sun began to sink toward the horizon, and the jungle was plunging into twilight. Alina understood that night in the forest could be dangerous, especially for a weakened cub. She decided to set up camp right on the shore, quickly gathering dry branches. She lit a fire and its warm light dispelled the dampness and shadows. Attracted by the heat, the leopard crept closer to the fire. His eyes sparkled in the reflections of the flames, and a spark of life was already appearing in them. Alina took a small camping pot out of her backpack and prepared a simple meal, rice with pieces of dried meat, which she always took with her. She set aside some meat and offered it to the cub. It sniffed it first, and then, as if gathering courage, began to chew slowly. Its ears twitched slightly, and its tail twitched for the first time, as if sensing her kindness. Alina, remaining vigilant, kept an eye on the surroundings, knowing that jaguars or commons could be hiding in the jungle. The fire crackled, casting shadows on the trees, and the night sounds of the forest, the cries of birds and the rustling of leaves, created the feeling that nature was watching them. The night was long. Alina sat by the fire watching the sleeping cub, whose chest now rose and fell evenly. She felt a fragile bond developing between them, based on trust and care. Before going to sleep, she checked the bandages, making sure the wounds were not bleeding. Tired but satisfied, she climbed into her tent, leaving her backpack with the first aid kit at the ready. At dawn, the first rays of the sun broke through the foliage, bathing the jungle in golden tones. Alina climbed out of the tent and immediately checked on the leopard, To her relief, the wounds had begun to heal and he looked more alert. He even tried to stand up, although his paws were still trembling. Alina smiled when she noticed him rubbing his muzzle against her hand, as if in gratitude. Realizing that the cub needed to return to the wild, Alina decided to take him to a section of the river where the current was calmer. She packed up camp, extinguished the fire, and led the cub through the thickets. The leopard limped behind her, his steps uncertain, but his eyes burning with hope. At the river, Alina stopped, watching him carefully step over the rocks. She stroked his head, feeling a lump in her throat. It was hard for her to let him go, but she knew that his place was in the jungle, next to his mother. The cub stopped and turned around. His green eyes flashed, as if saying something that words could not convey. Then he turned and slowly disappeared into the shadows of the trees. The jungle swallowed him up, returning him to its eternal rhythm. Alina stood watching him go, praying that he would find his mother and find safety in this vast forest. After gathering her things, Alina continued on her way, but the image of the little leopard with his bright eyes remained with her. Birds sang in the treetops, and the river murmured softly, as if singing a song about a new day. The rain had stopped, but the memories of this encounter remained forever in Alina's heart. She looked up at the sky, where the clouds were dispersing, revealing a clear blue, and whispered a wish that the little leopard and his mother would once again roam together across the endless expanses of the Amazon. Thank you for reading this story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to share it and support our work so that we can tell even more stories about animal rescue.